Okay, so we're continuing to sort of add all this piping work at the back and everything else, and really we're to the point where the smaller pipes, as I said, they're going to be silver, so we can paint all of this and spray it up, and then we can add all the little lead bits of piping afterwards, and that way we won't have to worry about painting them, and then we can do all the little detailing work and everything else like that. So next thing we've done, obviously we've opened up this other hole, so we've made, as we said before, we've got the two side panels already done. So now we're continuing with the chopping up. As you can see, we've removed this entire hole here compared with the other side. Now this is for the seamless suckers to go in. Now these are the demold ones, and basically you chop out the entire area completely, and then they just fit. Straightforward replacement, straight in, no steps, no gaps and everything, lovely done. Just make sure you sand out everything level on the inside and you'll find these will just drop straight in. Did this one first time and we've got no real gaps, just got a little step down the bottom here on this corner, so a little bit of sanding will take care of that, but they're absolutely lovely. Now you might be able to see just back here where you can see the bit of the intake, we take it out, poking through there, and what that is this little area on this one. So what we need to do is just flatten off this side. It won't affect from what we're doing. They normally say pop your mask on to take care of the resin dust. But we just want to flatten this off. So that way the actual docking area that we've got will go in there. So if we just flatten that one out. Just like so. That. Okay, so when this fits in, okay, it's got a nice flat area and we've still got enough room in there to fit, as I said, these side panels will actually still go in there and fit in down the side. The other way you could do it is just trim them up just a touch to make them a little bit shorter, but that's basically how it's going to go and it's going to fit in there. So that's really the major chopping up of the actual front part, so you can fit both of those on and get those in. Now I wouldn't glue these suckers in there yet because we're going to do a few little things for them to tidy them up and put them in there and things like that. So as I said, we're going to open up this side one just down here. We'll get that one cut open. Okay, so for the moment that's really what we want to do for the actual cockpit area itself. Okay, so now this top area is all done. We've added a little bit more lead wire in there, but what we need to do now really is just sort of paint it up, because obviously we're saying about the 2 layers, that way we won't have to go around picking too much out. So obviously you can dry brush this to bring it to life, and obviously all the hoses, which we'll do as well. So what we're going to do, we've got some interior green here. This is the extra acrylic stuff, which is the FS number 34151, or the extra acrylic number is XA1117. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of thinners in the airbrush. Now I've just given this a good clean out. So we're just going to blow all the thinners through to get rid of any nasties that are still in the airbrush. Okay, happy with that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put 1/2 mil of thinners in. Okay, and we're just going to pour into here equal amount of paint. Okay, we just use a cocktail stick here just to mix these up. A good old mix round. If you're using extra acrylic paints, make sure you give them a good mix. I know a lot of you find it, they spit and start and everything else. The thing is, good thin and a very good mix. And obviously if you get any nasties at the top of your paint system, the cap here, they can obviously cause problems. So what a good idea is to do, when you've used it, as soon as you used it, give it a wipe. Get all the nasties off from around it and put the top on. Give it a shake, and that way it keeps it all moist and everything around the top. Okay, so we just bring you in a bit. So what we're going to do, check our flow, there's our green. Okay, we're just going to blow this in. And it's one of those things we've got to get in from all the angles, in all the different directions. Slightly. Because also by painting it, What will also happen is all the bits of tape that we've put on the model, it will help stick them down as well. Now it's going to need a couple of coats. It's rough, as you can see now. We've got this colour. What we're going to do is these side ones as well. Get into those. There's colour everywhere. Okay, starting down. And it doesn't matter if it gets a little bit wet in there, because it'll help cover. So we'll just let those dry off, and then we're going to come back and give it a second coat. But there we go, we're sort of looking the business now of how it all should look. And then once we've got those on, we can pick out all the individual details of obviously all the rubbers and the different things. And you can look at your references for some of the red banding and things like that. And then we can go round and obviously add more wiring to really bring it to life. And that will put this particular stage to an end. Okay, so there we go. That's the green work on. Works really, really well, that colour. So what we can do now is pick them out. Now, what happened was, apparently, when the GA and earlier versions were converted to the S version, just try and stay with me here, apparently all the seals on the back here were changed from being your normal sort of rubber hose seals to Teflon seals, because apparently the rubber ones used to leak. Now, I'm not too sure about what colour the original ones were. All the reference shots I've got are showing me that the seals are sort of done black hosing, or they're actually like a steel colour, and then obviously you've got markings running around them in red, which I presume are fuel. You can't quite make them out in the photos, but I'm sure they're saying things like fuel lines and what type of actual hose they are. But when you look at it, there's very, very few actual rubber hoses on this one. These all tend to be silver colour, quite a dark coloured silver, and then light coloured silver around it. So, because I'm going to do the dark ones, what we're going to use is bolt gun metal. I don't know why I always have trouble saying that. And a nice thin brush, okay? So then all we can do, we can go around here. Now these big ones, because we put them on, are lifted up slightly. They're raised, it means they're quite easy to paint. Okay, so we can just go around here and start picking out these details. So if we bring you nice and close, you can see what we're doing. So we just go in here. If I just do these areas here, hair on the end of that brush, which isn't good, we can go around and say paint all these raised hoses that give us that three-dimensional effect of being seals. So we just go around all of these just like that. As you see, picking them out. Then obviously if you haven't got one, you can put them in simply just by brushing it on. But it's one of those things, in the light you can see it's starting to come to life like that. Then obviously what we can do, we can grab some red. We're going to use flat red. Okay, so if we just grab a red. Now this particular red I've got here isn't the best red in the world, because it's quite an old flat one. Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to switch that. I was going to use the flat red, but I'm actually going to use a gloss. The reason is, when you look at the references, it all shows it being shiny under here, which is quite handy because we can go around then and do the same. So a bit of a shake on that. Okay, so the same thing, we're just going to grab a bit of gloss red, not too much. Okay, and then we can go around, then every now and again we just like here. We can put them in as they are on the references, and they tend to be all the way along, so we just pop one down here, and these we can just brush on. Some are thicker, some are thinner. So we just a little bit on there. So we can go around with all of these and detail them up. And as I said, by using different silvers, there's a few little oranges and things like that, we can go around and detail this up and make it really sort of come to life and stand out. We can obviously do a little bit of dry brushing. Then after we're done, I'm going to give it a wash to give it that sort of three-dimensional depth to it. So what I'm going to do now is just pop around and put all these in. Then we can put in a little bit more cabling, because there's a little bit more cabling that's going to go on the entire sort of size of this. And then once we've got it all done, wash on. Okay, so as you can probably see, let me just pick this up carefully, we're going round and putting in all this wiring, and by using the orange wiring as well, and all that is lead wire just painted orange, it's obviously you can see now we're really bringing this up to life, and although it's not dirty and grimy yet, we'll do that afterwards. What we're trying to do is give it that effect of being really busy with the wiring it going through. So at the moment I've just done all the orange, and now I'm starting, you probably see bits of it hanging out here on the actual normal wiring colour. Same thing, threading it through, so I'm putting it all through the holes exactly as we would. So we've got something going on like this which is really starting to liven it up. I think once it's had a wash on there, it should really look the business. But it's one of those real time consuming things. I've been on this over an hour now, doing it to this stage, hand painting in the details and putting these in. It's one of those things you don't really want to rush, because you end up, you know, pulling wires off as you're going around and everything else like that. But there we go, that's to the point where we're at. We're just going to say putting these last few wires on, and then what we can do is we can use that original panel to protect it. At the same time I've been going around and been painting up these side ones. I've done those will get a wash, and some more lead wiring will run amongst that as well. But at the moment we just picked out the pipes in grey, and we've done the same on the other side as well. So we've got all of those in. And then what we can do, we're going to work on the Ram Air turbine, which is just fitted here. Just going to box that, get that one completed as well, and then we are done with that. Then we can get these ducts installed. Now these ducts from the underside here, as we said before, they just fit in, but obviously up against this boxing that we've done, we've had to say trim a little bit off of the edge, just square them out a little bit so they'll fit in amongst all this ductwork that we've been putting in. But there again, so those are in, so we can start to put those together. But really, as you can see, that's the main thing, and this is going to be the thing about the actual model. Yes, it's going to have some working lights in the cockpit and everything else, but I want it to look like its busyness as it is in the real aircraft and everything else. And when you have a look at sort of, you're looking at it like that, and this is what we're trying to recreate. By the time it's had some weathering, a little bit of dry brushing, things like that, hopefully it'll look pretty similar to what we've got in these reference photos.